Very recently, Texas passed a number of anti-abortion bills, and it makes it very, very difficult for women in some parts of Texas to get access to a safe abortion. Hospital admitting privileges were included in the legislation, and that basically indicates that an abortion clinic needs to have admitting privileges from hospitals, but a lot of the hospitals are run by conservative officials, and they will not grant those admitting privileges. As a result, a number of clinics shut down, and there are areas like Rio Grande Valley where they do not have access to an abortion clinic. So as a result, the Center for Reproductive Rights is suing the state of Texas, and this has gone through appeals, and right now a panel of judges from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit is hearing the case. Well, one judge has decided that, you know what, having a 150-mile drive to an abortion clinic is not an undue burden for someone who wants to get an abortion. In fact, she says the following: do you know how long that takes in Texas at 75 miles an hour? This is a peculiarly flat and not congested highway. And she's referring to the drive from Rio Grande Valley to Corpus Christi, where they have an abortion clinic.
So what's the big deal? Why don't you get in your, SUV and just drive there one day and, speed along, if you will, and ironically, that might endanger the unborn child, which she's obsessed by.
Right, right.
Doesn't seem that concerned about the actual born person. But and then after they do the forced ultrasound and try to talk you out of it and do all that counseling, etc., and then you'll have to drive back home and then drive there again to actually have the procedure and then drive back home. What's the big deal? Now,
what she fails to keep in mind is there's a 24-hour waiting period. So you have to go to the clinic, you get a forced ultrasound, you have to look at the ultrasound, and then after that you have to wait 24 hours. You have to think about whether or not you really want to go through with the abortion, and then if you do, you come back, and that's when you do the abortion, right? So you don't just make one trip. It's 300 miles round trip, right? You have to do that twice in order to get the abortion. And on top of that, you're not considering gas, you're not considering the resources necessary to make that trip. And, if you look at the number of people that need abortions or want abortions, about, 42% of them are below the federal poverty level. So as a result, or federal poverty line, as a result, they can't afford the extra resources necessary to go through with this.
I don't get it, but Edith Jones can. So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Reminds me of Rush Limbaugh. Like, well, if you're poor, why don't you go to the fridge and get a sandwich? Yeah. Like, I got a nice car. I can go, that sounds like a nice drive. Why don't I do that a couple of times? Oh, you don't have a car because you're below the poverty line? You don't have the fuel to go back and forth? You don't have the money to stay at a motel near there?
Sorry.
Yeah, who cares? Oh, good. I didn't want you to have the abortion anyway. I wanted you to have an undue burden.
And think about the ramifications of that for a second, right? So if you are wealthy or if you're upper middle class, you have the resources. If you don't want to have that child, then you don't have to. You can somehow get yourself to that abortion clinic. But the poorest of the poor just simply don't have the resources to do it. This does serve as an undue burden. So as a result, they will be forced to either have that baby or they will do something unsafe to abort that baby, right? And let's say they do have that baby and all of these conservative dreams come true. What are you going to do to help that woman raise that child? You're going to shut down any type of governmental program necessary to help that kid grow up to be healthy, right?
But Anna, why would they do anything after the kid's born? At that point, he's no longer unborn.